Hey guys, this is Nozakuboy and welcome to my review of the high-grade Gouf flight type. This review series is aimed towards more of the advanced modeler rather than the snap builder, and as such does not include articulation and nothing on stickers, as I assume you paint and use waterslide decals. Instead, I will be focusing on each part of the model, letting you know what work will need to be done to get it to a decent level, followed by a few poses that one might display the model in. Beginning with the legs, there are only a few minor seam lines that need to be taken care of. The first two are just below the knee joint where the front armour piece connects to the side. Due to the construction, this can be fixed before any painting, and the same can be said for the seam behind the knee, as the other pieces can be removed. Under the side turbine housing, there is also a small gap where the plastic doesn't line up properly. Unfortunately, you can see through it. This one though is negligible, but will need to be fixed depending on how anal you are. Another thing to be cautious of is the red vent in the rear part of the leg. This clips in with no easy way to remove it, so don't assemble until after painting this piece. The last thing to say about the leg is, depending on how it's displayed, you may want to address how terrible the underside of the leg skirt armour is. For the most part, the skirt is decent with no seam lines to address. The main letdown comes with the energy piping. It's that terrible type that needs to be bent at certain points. So if you have plans on using these, you'll need to remove the mould lines and then putty the gaps. If you plan on replacing them, they measure just over 3mm in diameter. Also, if you want to replace the thruster bells, these measure 8mm in diameter and 4mm in height. The backpack doesn't require too much work, as it only has one seam along the top and then running down both sides. If you wish to replace the thruster bells, these are also 8mm in diameter and 4mm high, the same as the ones on the skirt. The torso does not require too much work, with the only minor annoyance being the gaps down the back from the sides, but this is hidden by the backpack, leaving only the underside visible. Once assembled completely, this is next to impossible to see, so this also could be ignored. The arms are rather decent, with the first seam that requires filling in the back of the elbow armour. The arm connects to the shoulder via an exposed poly cap that will need to be hidden as well. One major design flaw is a seam in the shoulder. For the most part it's disguised as a panel line, but for some bizarre reason the designers thought it a good idea to run a seam through the circle instead of around it. The head takes my most work required award. The piping is the same as the skirt except 2mm in diameter and barely is connected at the front. The first seam is along the nose and stands out enough that it will definitely need to be addressed. The antenna also has the safety nub which requires removal. The next seam is connected to the pipes and requires a lot of work to make look good, with the final seam line running up and back down the head for no apparent reason. With the kit is the iconic Gatling shield, one of my favourite weapons, but it's also the one that was designed back in 2010. The first seams run along the support arm that holds the ammo drum and the handle to the shield and gun barrels. And then my favourite seam line on this entire kit. This runs down the entire length of the barrel and will require a lot of work to clean up, as the joint is in the recessed area and will stand out if not filled in. My last dislike is the recessed area where the ammo belt enters and will probably need to be filled and scribed to look a lot better. Now, as this is a Bandai kit and not just one of their recolours, there's a lot of spare parts that will end up in the scratch build parts box. There's ankle joints, knee joints, most of the lower leg parts, Gouf shoulders including the curved spikes, as well as almost a complete head, and the wire rope launcher arm part sans the wire. And with that, it pretty much wraps up what needs to be fixed on this kit. As for posing, don't expect too much as the legs are rather chunky. Surprisingly, it does a good job holding up the Gatling shield, but I'd still glue the joint if you display it like that. Ideally, this kit needs to be in the air for its full potential. Overall, this kit has a lot of seams to fix and a few issues, but with the large flat areas begging for mods and scribes, and a cool aesthetic done well, this kit has a lot of potential. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button, and if you have any feedback or suggestions for these reviews, I'd love to hear them. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell to stay up to date with all my future videos. This has been Nozakuboy. Thanks for watching.